Look at everyone here for second round of catch up, pickups, whatever I titled the last video. Gonna get right into it. Again, if you've not followed the last video, got a lot of records in the past 2 or so years, so I'm making this a mini series just to kind of catch up rather than it be one long video. I'm doing it in multiple parts where I cover about 6 or so records each video. So let's get this rolling with this one right here. Gets Gilberto. This is a classic jazz album. This is an album that if you're trying to get into jazz or if you like jazz, this should be in your collection. Mine is on the Verve label. This is a pretty decent copy. I traded for this one, but I'm glad to have it. Sounds great. Still a little staticky here, there. There's a lot of factors that kind of go into that. So glad to have this one. This is just a classic jazz album. And for every video from this point on for the collections pickup, I will be having a specific playlist for albums showed in each video. So keep an eye out for that in the description below. So we're going to keep things rolling here with the next one, which is a jazz one. And that one is another Getz, but this time with J.J. Johnson. So this is Stan Getz and J.J. Johnson at the Opera House on the Verve label. And again, Verve on that. So what I love about jazz is how each person has their own unique mastery and what they bring to the table, and then you have someone else who's also a master or really good at what they do, and then what they bring to the table, kind of like with the Art Pepper that I have. Really interesting to hear, you know, what they bring to the table. I've only listened to this a couple of times, but I really like this one. This and the other one, I'm slowly getting into jazz. Jazz is not like my main focus of my collection, but I'm so glad to have this one here as well. Okay. Gonna keep rolling here. I have a couple things here. I'm trying not to make things fall down. Oh, yeah. So, those of you who have watched my channel for quite some time know that I'm a fan of this particular era of Black Sabbath. You also know that I'm a fan of this particular singer. Only had the live album for this particular artist, but now I finally have the first album, and that is Dio, Holy Diver. This was the 2022 reissue on this really nice silver and white wax, or silver and, I want to say it's like silver, yeah, silver and white coloring, but also it has a really nice etching on the D side. I'll pull that out for you here. So glad to have this. This is just a classic album for me. And there is, I believe, a bonus track on here. Yes, there's Evil Eyes, but I'm not sure how well that'll show up on camera. The etching on this side does show. I can barely even see it in this light here. Ah, yeah. There we are. I'm not sure. There we go. It does show basically the album cover as well. This is classic metal. Ronnie James Dio, I miss him so much. He was such a titan when it came to the album, and I will show off the really awesome gatefold. I do keep my hype sticker. What does it say here? Yeah, water swirl vinyl is what they talked about. This is the 2022 remix by Joe Barresi. So this is newly commissioned artwork. So it's pretty similar to the artwork from the original album. But yeah, there's just Stand Up and Shout, Holy Diver, Caught in the Middle, Gypsy, Don't Talk to Strangers, Straight to the Heart, which is my favorite of Dio, and then also Rainbow in the Dark is on here too. The live album that I had gotten, which is in the background here, Dio played at the Astoria Theater, and they played the entirety of this album, plus some other, tracks. There was, I believe, a couple of Rainbow tracks, and I do think there was a couple of Sabbath tracks on there as well. So a lot of fun. Glad to finally have this one in the collection. And the 2022 remix does sound really good. Keeping things rolling here. So this is a band that I've been wanting to have in my collection, kind of like Dio, for a while here. I don't consider this a greatest hits band, but I'm glad to have this so I can have a couple of the tracks and eventually get some more. And that's the Goo Goo Dolls. This is Greatest Hits Volume 1, the singles. This is on Coke Bottle Clear, or as they call Cola Bottle Clear. Does come with a printed inner sleeve. I did have issue with this, and that one side had an extra label, and I had to cut that off, which was kind of weird. There's the back for you. I mean, what else can you say about the Goo Goo Dolls that have not already been said? Classic band, and I'm glad to have this in the collection because, again, I really like Goo Goo Dolls stuff. Not the highest priority for me, but glad to have this compilation in the collection. So glad to have that. So I have two more to show you for this video. The next one was a gift from Marichen, which I still have I'm so glad to have this. So one of my favorite bands, and I've talked about this before, is 3 Days Grace. Did not have any in the collection up to this point. But I opened this up from Marichen, and I am completely shocked. This is the second album with their new singer, Matt. They're on album 3 right now. I didn't necessarily like Explosions that much, but I liked a lot of this one. And it is 3 Days Grace Outsider. Glad to have this one in the collection. It's on its own custom label. And does have a nice lyric sheet, not a printed inner label. Left the back there, and I showed in my room tour the time I got to see them at the Norva. The big songs on here, I mean, you can see that right there is The Mountain would be on here. There's a lot of just underrated songs on this. I really like this album, and I'm glad to finally have that one in the collection as well, and to keep this one quicker than the last one. Again, we're keeping things A to Z so I can make it easier on myself to upload these things. And I'm filming all of these in quick succession, so I'm trying to get as much done on my week off as possible. The last one was a little tricky for me to find. Target often has exclusive records, and many a times that I've ordered through Target for records, whether they have it in stock, whether it's one of their exclusives or not, they have failed me multiple times. So I had to wait to get this one, but I'm glad I have it because there's a lot of songs on here that I didn't have on wax up until this point. Now that's what I call 90s alternative rock. Custom labels there, but I am going to take the record out, and there was no interstate, but I'll let you pause it here to take a look at the track listing. Glad to have this. I believe, yeah, there are radio edits on this, unfortunately, but there's a hit coming up on one of these of an album that I've either shown or going to be showing, so just wait on that. But there's a lot of tracks that I didn't have that I finally have on this one. Sounds pretty good for what it's mixing. This is actually a pretty decent comp. If you could find it for a decent price, I recommend it. Just keep in mind that there is some censored music on this, unlike the one that I showed last time. I thought it would be censored because for a time there, Walmart was only putting out censored records, which was kind of weird, and that was mainly on CD. For the longest time, I remember if I would have bought a CD from Walmart, they only had the censored version. So keep that in mind. Do your research on this, but I recommend this one. This one's a great one. Thank you so much for checking this out. Let me know down in the comments below what you've been listening to. Thank you again. Thank you so much for checking this out. That's all I have today. Let me know down in the comments what you've been listening to. And as I say at the end of everything I'm in, when the waters get rough, please keep on sailing. Thank you once again for checking this out, and I hope you have a wonderful day, week, whatever time you're watching this. Take care.